Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Man, let's get straight to it. Wars between opposite gangs it's not a new thing, right? What I'm gonna do in this episode is tell you why some of these gang wars really happen, not the what you hear on TV or not what you hear from a family member that might be in the gang that don't want to tell you what's really going on and why they ended up trying to kill or killing somebody in the process, right? But the truth of the matter is, that it happens every day and it's not really what you think it's about. I'm not going to use anybody's real name. I'm not even going to use the real affiliations, right? Because I don't want anybody to uh, think that I'm talking about them when I'm not. Those individuals that are familiar with the story, they'll know who I'm talking about. So it is what it is, right on that, right? So this story, what I'm saying, began a long time ago, right? Between I'm gonna say the Vice Lords and the Bloods. I mean the Vice Lords and the Gangster Disciples, right? And you got two heads of these organizations, right? And when I say heads, I'm not talking about the heads of the organizations overall over the whole state, right? What I'm talking about is the heads of their compound, what GD called the nine, right? And the Vice Lords, I think they might call it five stars, or whatever the case may be. For that particular compound, though, not all over. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, here's the thing, right? You got these two heads, right? One Vice Lord, one Gangster Disciple, right? And Vice Lords and Gangster Disciples are not really cool on most levels, right? There's a long history to why Vice Lords and Gangster Disciples are not cool, and I'll tell you about that in another episode. But what I want you to understand is that when you have opposite gangs, whether I'm using the actual name of the gangs that were involved in this issue that I'm about to talk about or not, when you have gangs that are on opposite sides, it's usually a history behind why they don't mess with each other, right? In this particular situation, you had the two heads that didn't really, on the surface anyway, in front of all of the people that they were over, they didn't really like each other, right? So they put on airs and made it seem as like the other side is always wrong, F them, and whatever the case may be, right? But that's part of the public persona. Privately, these two heads, right, were doing business. And when I say business, they were doing big business, right? One of the heads of the organizations, right, I'm going to say the Vice Lords, he was bringing in a pack for the folks, right? And by him bringing in a pack for the folks, he done already crossed the line, doing something that he ain't had no business doing anyway. Why is that? Opposites, man, they really don't do that for each other, right? Unless they have a history of being friends before they were, I'm saying, in opposite organizations, or they got cool in the process. And that's a rare thing for that to happen, but it does happen, y'all. So anyway, these two individuals are doing business, right? And the folks, he's got, the Vice Lord brother bringing in the pack, right? And when you bring in a pack in the penitentiary, you usually going to get paid 25% of that pack to bring it in, right? Now, here's what happened. Folks, Slim, his gal would pick up the Vice Lord's gal, or she would follow behind her, right? But at the end of the day, she would at least take the pack over there to her. She never gave the pack to her before she left out for visit. She would always do it the day of visit. It would already be wrapped. There's no need for her to mess with it. And they had developed that rapport, right? Sometimes she might wrap it in front of her just to ease her mind and make sure that what she says is in it, right? So anyway, she would bring it and give her the pack. On this particular day where this issue, it blew up into something else, she had already had the pack wrapped. When she took the pack over there, she gave it to Gal, and the Gal followed behind her, right? You know what I'm saying? All the way to the VG. So when they get to the VG, she takes the pack in to her dude, right? That happens to be a Vice Lord, okay? She gives the pack to her dude and all this and that. But when she sat down at the table, now Slim, his girl Tiffany, they already sitting down and come on in and whatnot. You know what I mean? But anyway, the Vice Lord is sitting down with his gal, and they over there talking, right? But the gal, the Vice Lord girl, she tell him, she said, look, she's pretending to be panicked, right, about the whole situation. And she's telling him, look, I almost got caught. You know what I'm saying? And he's not really thinking about, okay, it ain't no almost you get caught in the penitentiary. Either you do or you don't. You will or you won't. That's how it works, right? So she's popping her game, play a sucker, catch a sucker. You know what I'm saying? So she's running it down to him that she almost got caught bringing in this pack. And she asked me, she said, what would happen if I got caught? Now, don't get it twisted. She's not green to this. She's not new to this, right? She's true to this. So she knows what would happen, but she's just trying to see what he would say, right? So he hits her back. He said, if you were to get caught, you go to jail, I go to the hole. She's like, well, what happens to me when I go to the hole? He said, well, we'll have to figure out a way to make bond. She said, how would you be able to make my bond or get anybody else to make my bond when you haven't been sending me any money? See, that was the problem with this situation, right? This Vice Lord guy, he had not been sending her any money whatsoever. So she's just been bringing in the pack. Little did she know that he had a side chick, right? That's where his money's going. So she's asking him then, where is the money? Why don't you send the money to me? He can't tell her that he's sending it to his side chick. He's not going to do that. You know what I mean? So what he tells her is this. He said, I send that money home to my mom so, I have something when I get out. You feel me? Now, don't get it twisted. He's sending a lot of money home. You can make a lot of money off of some dope in the penitentiary. It's almost 3 or 4 times the value of what's on the street. You feel what I'm saying? And then if it's a drought, run that up a little bit higher, right? So he's making his ends, you know what I'm saying? Even though he's getting paid a quarter off of whatever gets brought in. But he's not sending his money home to his mom, like I said. So she peeps game. She's like, oh, okay then. Well, that's who you need to get to bring it in. If you sending money home to her, then get her to bring it in. Because she know he's not sending that money home to his mother. So he backs down, but he's peeping the game. He sees what she's trying to do. She's trying to box him in, right? So he peeps game and whatnot. So he said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'll start sending the money home to you so we can build a nest egg, you know what I'm saying, for when I get out. And in case something goes wrong, right? Now look here, Slim and Tiffany, they sitting across the VG. They watching the whole thing unfold. And Slim, he's very observant. You know what I'm saying? He can tell a gal is hot. And she's really getting into dude's face about what's going on, right? But they can't hear what they're talking about. So make a long story short, Slim tells Tiffany at the end of the visit, he said, look, here's what I need you to do. When y'all get out there in that VG, you need to talk to her and find out what was going on, right? Because we don't want no issues that's going to mess up the flow of this money. And Tiffany's all on board for that. You know what I'm saying? She's really down with her dude. She's been from prison to prison with him. When I say from prison to prison, what that means is if Slim gets transferred to a prison in the west part of the state, she finds her a place to live down there. If he gets transferred to the east part of the place, she finds her a place up that way. If he gets transferred to the middle, she's coming there, right? She follows her man to make sure that he's been, treated the way he needs to be treated and has all the comforts of prison, right? So she's sacrificing things on the streets for him. Now, don't get it twisted now. He stays in these locations for a few years, so it's not like every 3 or 4 months she's having to pick up and move. It just wouldn't work that way. So anyway, she tells him, okay, I'll take care of that when we get out in the parking lot. So she gets out in the parking lot. She's hollering the guy, said, look, what's going on? What were y'all arguing about in there? So the guy just comes on with it because she really pissed because she feel like, you know what I'm saying, he think the Vice Lord dude, he thinks he's getting over on her, but she got a trick for him, right? Because she's like, if I don't bring the pack in to him, ain't nothing going to happen. And now she's telling Miss Tiffany that, and Tiffany said, hold up. We don't need to do that. What is the problem? We can work this out because Tiffany's main concern is to make sure the flow of money don't get interrupted. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And the guy said, look, I need me a man that's going to help take care of me. If I'm putting all this work in, bringing in this pack into this dude, then he needs to be helping take care of some of the financial obligations that I got out here. I'm going to work and then I'm coming to visit and I'm doing all this and I'm taking these penitentiary chances and he's not even helping me. So Miss Tiffany looked back and said, you are absolutely right. But look here, check this out. I know any man out here, you know what I'm saying, that I associate with, the guys that she associate with are some of the guys, right? She's not messing with them, but these are some of the guys that are cool with Slim. So she's knowing any one of them would be glad to have Gal, because Gal does not look bad at all. You feel what I'm saying? She's got everything it takes, and she's savvy, you know what I'm saying, to the street. She's going to do what she needs to do. She's down for her dude, right? Right or wrong. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of females are like that. It is what it is. You take it like it is. So here's her thing. This is what she said. She said, look, I'll find you a dude out here if that's what you need. Somebody that will help take care of you, wine and dine you and all of these nice things, but that don't come for free. Dudes like to do what they do. You feel what I'm saying? And she's like, look, I'm not against having a relationship separate from my dude in the penitentiary. That's what she's telling him. She said, as long as he treats me right, you feel me? But she said, at the end of the day, if I find me somebody out here, I'm done with him in there. Miss Tiffany says, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. She said, listen, I'm all for you being happy, but this is business. If I find you some dude out here that's going to help you out, take care of you, scratch your itch whenever you need it, whatever the case may be, right, you still need to go visit dude in there and take that pack to him. So she said, why would I do that? She said, because this is business. I'm not finna find you somebody to help take care of you, you know what I'm saying, financially and sometimes emotionally or physically, sexually rather. And then you cut off the business that we got going on. She said, that's against my best interest and it's against my husband's best interest. So Gal looked at it and said, okay then, this is what we'll do. You find me somebody that I can go out with every now and then that will help me out every now and then with paying a bill or two here and there, whatever the case may be. And then I keep taking the pack end of this sucker. And she was like, look, I feel what you're saying, right? But you got to be careful about being disrespectful towards him because if you're going to be disrespectful like that, you might slip up and say something to him in his face one day. And then that's the end of the business too. You still got to play your role. You got to play your part. That's just what it is, right? So she agreed. So Miss Tiffany finds her somebody that happens to be, dun, 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 the folks. Again, like I say, it's a history. When you have gangs that are on the opposite side of the thing, they always had this history of not getting along, right? So you can imagine a Vice Lord brother not being cool with his gal saying a gangster disciple under any circumstances if he's not involved in it. You feel me? So time goes by. Time goes by. Now let's get to it. She's seeing this guy on the streets and she's starting to feel him. He's taking care of her. He's giving her everything that she needs. He's coming by. He's spending time at her place. She's spending time at his. He's really digging her. You feel what I'm saying? But Slim is his brother. And he's not going to do anything to mess up one of his brother's flow of business in the penitentiary. Because the way he looks at it is like, look, okay, I got these feelings for this gal. She putting in work for my brother. She ain't sleeping with dude in there. They don't have the opportunity to do that. So he's not intimidated by that at all. It's nothing sexual other than, he might get to play with the pussy every now and then, or he might give her a kiss or something, but it ain't nothing like that. You understand what I'm saying? They not laying down. She not getting him no head or anything like that. Now, back in the day, maybe that stuff kind of would have happened, but these days, no. At this time that this went down, nah, she might let him touch on it or something like that. And that was about the extent of it. But she's playing her role. It even got to the point where she didn't even like that. She didn't like dude even touching her. She just wanted to take the pack, give it to him, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? She didn't mind the kiss because she still knew she had to play her role. Because at any time that she stopped the business, she was not sure if folks on the streets would have been like, look, that's the end of that. You done messed up my brother's flow. You feel what I'm saying? She wasn't sure which way he would go. So she kept playing her role, you know what I'm saying, because she felt like that's what it would take to keep him. So here's what happened. The Vice Lord dude happens to call home one day and he's talking to her on the phone and he hears dude in the background. And he asks her, who is that? And she's not as fast as she thinks she is. She said, oh, that's one of your brothers. Came over here to leave some money for you. And then he was like, who is that? What's his name? You know what I'm saying? Let me holler at him and tell him thank you. She freezes up. She freezes up. Now he knows something up. She's like, nah, he on his way out the door, right? Now he's suspicious. Now he starts to put together all of the changes in moods and the changes in her attitude when she's at visit, and he's starting to think she's cheating. But then on the other side, he's like, nah, she let me touch on her. She let me kiss her. She putting in work. She answered my phone call. She put money on the book. She's got all of the boxes checked as to what she needs to do to be a gal. You know what I'm saying? To somebody in the penitentiary. She's holding him down, right? So now he's wondering, what is going on? I don't understand this. Because she's playing her role. Think about that, y'all. You got a female, right? You know what I'm saying? And she's continuing to do all the things that you would normally do, right? But it's all game. It's all game. Because she's got this dude on the side that she's really giving her a hard time to. So he's thrown off. He don't know what to think, because how do you measure that? In a penitentiary relationship, these are the things that your gal is supposed to do. You feel what I'm saying? If you own that. And she's doing all that. So he really like, man, I can't get mad. I'll be done messed up something and messed up the money. But then his heart is in it. And as time goes on, she gets more and more reckless. Dude on the town, folks get more and more reckless. And here it is. He starts to hear stuff because he's talking to his Vice Lord brothers on the town about her. And they'll drop in every now and then. And when they would go by there, they would see a car. They're like, whose car is this? You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't stop and knock on the door. They didn't want to violate her like that, but they wondered, whose car is this? And then they'll ask her when they catch her out because they didn't want her to know that their brother has got them watching her. So they'd wait till they see her out in the streets or at the store or wherever they could catch her. And then they would like, you had somebody over at the house? And she, of course, would lie and say, it's one of my girlfriends, one of this, one of that. But what she didn't understand is that they're watching. They sitting around peeping. And they see a dude. They don't see no female coming out of the house. Now it's like, who is he? And after further investigation, guess what? They find out he's the business. He's the business. So they report that back to their brother. Now their brother finds out what's going on and he confronts her with it. He can't hold it. He can't hold it. See, a lot of dudes, you know what I'm saying, when it's strictly about the business, they'll hold that and let go and do it. As long as she's doing what I needed to do, who cares? You feel what I'm saying? But he couldn't hold it. Because he could tell the attitude change. And when the woman's attitude changed, guess what? She's already gone emotionally. It's just a matter of time before she's gone physically. Excuse me, y'all. My cough is still with me. But anyway, he couldn't deal with that. So now the visits, even though she kept bringing the packs, the visits are getting more and more disruptive. They're arguing. They're sitting in the VG, not even looking at each other, looking the opposite way, kissing when they leave just to make it look good. You know what I'm saying? Like a tap. That's it. Ain't no tongue. You feel what I'm saying? They just gone on. And they had been together too long to be acting like that, and people started to notice. Now the vice lord dude, he know he can't go back to his brothers and be like, look, I've been bringing the pack in for the opposition. And now he want to play games, and one of his brothers on the town is messing with my guy. We need to go to war. He can't say that. He can't say that. So now he starts to create issues. He starts to create issues between the vice lords and the folks. Stuff going on in the penitentiary. You know, when you be in the child line, you know what I'm saying? You don't want people breaking line and all this and that getting in front of you, because when you walking with the guys, it's enough of it's a line. Nobody can get between that. Folks in the front, folks in the back, everybody in the middle is the folks. Ain't no folks, the folks, peon, folks, vice lord, gangster. It ain't nothing like that. It ain't nothing like that. Nobody breaks in between that. That's for security purposes. And it's the same thing with any other organization, right? So when he would see stuff like that, he would send one of them younger brothers out to break line or to bump into somebody or break shower security, just creating issues that he knows eventually is going to cause a problem. And before you knew it, it became a problem. One part, they arguing, the vice lords and the folks arguing about petty stuff that never used to be a problem. It's going from pod to pod around the compound. Now everybody's mad, so we sick of these vice lords constantly getting in the business, right? So now the tension is rising. What do you do about that? Easy solution to that. When you part of the org, right, and you got problems, you settle it one of two ways: by force or by force. It's as simple as that. Somebody get in your way, smack them upside the head. We ain't got time to talk. You already know what the protocol is, so you breaking it intentionally. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know, you're finna learn today. It's as simple as that. So what happened is this. The war pops off. Now keep in mind, folks is trying not to let this happen because he know this is finna mess up with his bread. He don't want this thing to pop off. He don't need it to pop off, but ain't nothing he can do to stop it. Now he's talking to Gal, trying to get her to talk to dude so that they can squash this thing, right? Because it's going to mess up his money. But the vice lord too far gone. He ain't trying to hit none of that. He don't care about none of that. He don't care about no peace. Right now he's mad and he wants to blow up everything. He ain't even thinking about the money he's going to lose. All he's thinking about is some gangster disciple done took my gat. And that's a no-no. That's a no-no. But he ain't telling his brothers the truth behind what's really going on. And they finna go to war over false pretenses. Over false pretenses. And that's how it goes down. But here's the thing. Now, I don't want to end this right now. I want to end this. I'm going to tell you what really happened and how it was the flip came in the game, right? But check this out. His gal on the town. Now, she runs around on the town. She's not affiliated, but she knows some of his vice lord's brothers. You know what I'm saying? So she goes to them and she tells them what's really going on, because when somebody in the penitentiary getting ready to go to war, most people will call their people on the town and say, look, might not be able to call you for a few days, going to be locked down with this and that. Make sure you put some money on my books and all this and that, right? You know what I'm saying? You make arrangements in advance when you know it's about to pop off. So everybody's getting these phone calls on the town and being told, look, this is what it is. Might not be able to call you for a few days. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the vice lord brothers out there, they preparing, because if it happens in the penitentiary, 9 times out of 10, it's going to bleed over into the streets. So if the vice lords and the gangsters in the penitentiary, Bloods and Crips in the penitentiary, every nation in the Blood, every nation in the Crip, every nation in the vice lord, if anybody in the penitentiary is beefing, it usually bleeds to the street, especially if a lot of those individuals live in the same neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? Or across town from each other, not that far. You know what I'm saying? So the call goes out. So she go to the 5-star out there on the town, and she tell him, look, man, this is why he's really mad. This is what's really going on, and this is what we need to do. He slapped the shit out of her. Said, so this is all you. This is all you. You know? So he get in touch with his brother on the inside. And he tell him, stand down. Stand down. But it was too late. It was too late. It was finna pop off that afternoon, and when you got everybody amped up, ain't no calming them down. They want blood. The folks is tired of being messed with, and the vice lords feel like they been, you know what I'm saying, disrespected, so they gonna push. And that's what happened. Everybody pushed. When they went to the chow hall, it popped off right there in the chow hall, and it was pandemonium, y'all. It was pandemonium. Butcher knives everywhere. People running, throwing trays, jumping on tables, having people on the ground stabbing them. The police can't do nothing about it. It's pure pandemonium, and all of a sudden you hear the smoke detectors going off because they spraying all the pepper spray and all this old kind of stuff that's going down, and everybody is in there beefing about what? Because a brother couldn't handle that his gal was seeing somebody in the opposition. All because he didn't want to give her any money. He wanted to pop his whip, but when it backfired on him, he wanted to cause a war to pop off in the penitentiary. And that's why a lot of stuff happens in here. It ain't what you think out there. It ain't what you're being told in most cases. Some of them, yeah, because a lot of infighting going on. But that's just one of the stories of how stuff happened in here under false pretenses. Got people going to war because people insecure. They can't handle when they don't treat somebody right. They can't handle when it pops back on them. They can't handle it. And that's why a lot of stuff happens in here, the way it happens. So remember that. All of you out there that say you about this life, are you really? Are you really? Because if you give it, you need to be able to take it. If you can't take it, don't do it. It's that simple. If you got you a good girl and she doing what you and her agree on doing, take care of her. If not, stand down. I don't recommend you do none of the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you now, because somebody going to jail. For real, somebody going to jail. When they catch her coming through that visa, they're going to take her straight to jail and do not pass go, do not collect $200. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you know you ain't going to have no money to make her bond. She's going to have to sit down there and call her mama or grandmama or somebody like that. And then they're going to be looking at her calling her stupid because she ain't had no business doing it anyway. You know how that go. And it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. You feel me? And if you say that you don't care nothing about that, then you don't care nothing about her. Just keep that in mind, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.